Welcome, sir. I hope this is your first time to IIT Tirupati.
Yes.
How's the campus and how do you like it?
It's really fantastic with proper, planning and use of resources. If we can make this campus, I see all exposed concrete. I think it is in a very scenic environment. You could see the hills behind, and I think the campus has come out really well. It looks very nice. And I think it has a great future ahead. Yeah.
Sure. And just regarding the conference, how do you feel it? If we are able to host like an international conference, and
Correct.
we are happy to have you here.
Thank you very much for the invitation. And see, this kind of conference gives us a platform. So, in academic world, this is very, very essential. Once in 2 years, especially materials and structures. Together, this kind of conference, right? Because if they're very careful at the material level, then I think structural design also will be better, and then we can design a long-lasting structure. But a lot of innovations are happening at the material level. But sometimes structural engineers, we are used to one kind of routine designs. But unless you understand the material aspects, then you cannot really design the structures. Now, especially with a lot of focus on sustainability and durability. So this kind of conference gives us an opportunity to listen to really stalwarts. For example, the plenary speakers. They were really, all the talks were really very informative, even for professors like us. And definitely for students, I'm sure this would have been a very good opportunity to interact with experts as well as interact with their co-students.
So following up with this visit to IIT Tirupati, yesterday you were mentioning that IIT Hyderabad that is a sister institute and it has come up with almost the same time as IIT Tirupati. How was it able to pull up much more students and as well as in the terms of facilities, at least in the structural lab facilities?
Yeah, I would say, see, this is Hyderabad started maybe 2008, maybe 5-6 years ago than IIT Tirupati. It's a third generation IIT. But having said that, sometimes, the location also has plays a factor. Hyderabad being a metropolitan city, probably, and also in the southern central of the country, so kind of it becomes very amenable for students from all parts of the country to come. And I'm sure with all the, the steps taken at IIT Tirupati, it's just a matter of time that a lot of good students will die. I see a very vibrant research community here when you interact with a lot of students like you, postdocs like you. So it's just a matter of time. And in terms of IIT Hyderabad, we are fortunate to have a lot of experimentalists. So joining at the initial period, and we also have very good support from JICA, which is a Japan, cooperative agency, so which funded us to build our campus, and also they gave a lot of support for research infrastructure. In that way, we were able to really set up state-of-the-art experimental facilities in that way. And again, location is also another important aspect I see.
Nice to know, sir. Thank you. And this is a personal question. I actually felt glad and I'm proud that we are from the same city. We are coming from Madurai and starting from a bachelor's in a place like Madurai and then going on to your master's at IIT Madras and then US for your PhD and coming back again. Now, how did the transition help you is the first question. And following up, now it has, because of geopolitics and all, it has become tough to go abroad. Do you think it is really mandatory in the sense that to have the transition for the abroad exposure to be back here and deliver that experience to the students?
So personally, I was always interested in academics and wanted to be always a structural engineer. So, but if you ask me whether this international exposure is mandatory, in this day and age, maybe it is not. Not really mandatory, but having that kind of international exposure really helps because it broadens your thinking. The same kind of problems, when you go abroad and come with that experience, you approach it in a very different way because you're used to latest technologies. The adoption is much quicker there. The adoption of latest technology is somewhat, a little slower in India. But having said that, that gap is coming down, year by year because we are living in a globalized world. So, but at least, attending these international conferences gives you that exposure. But I always feel that having an international exposure or at least, doing some postdoc or PhD abroad. If you already done masters in an IIT, it's nice. It would be nice if you go and get some foreign exposure. But I think, again, having said that, some of the research, maybe what we are doing in India probably may be better than some of the foreign universities also. So you have to really look at your personal goals and personal conditions and the facilities that what we have in specific IITs on the area that you want to work on. Then you have to take a call. I mean, having said that, foreign exposure really broadens your horizon.
Yeah. Thank you for those details. And now getting into some technical details, UHPC has become really a buzzword now.
Yeah.
So, what are the different? It is still not adopted in practice. There is some hesitation because of a lot of things, including material cost, initial cost. What are the different places that can be explored for a research effort, say, so that it can be brought out for the implementation?
Right. So one is understanding the constitutive behavior. The material behavior under different loading conditions is also not very well understood yet. Having said that, it's not really a new material. 1994 it was invented, and then in the Western countries they have been using it. But for India, it is relatively new. So we have to update our design codes. It has a great potential. Of course, cost is an impediment, right? So 1 meter cube of UHPC costs anywhere from 80,000 commercially. Proprietary products 80,000 to 1 lakh plus GST. So there is a lot of scope in optimizing this UHPC using locally available materials and make it more economically viable so that it can use. And also the mixing methodology also plays a role. And then you do everything in the lab scale and get very good performance, but when you translate it to large batch of volume, to make sure that you get consistently that same quality is also a challenge. So that we need to do. Second is the fibers and admixtures. They contribute to the high cost of UHPC. So again, you can do a lot of optimizations in terms of trying out different combinations of fiber types, and then the developing admixture that will be compatible with the mix that you are looking at. So there are a lot of possibilities are there. From structural point of view, I think the behavior of structural members is still not very well understood. Though there is a lot of testing has been done in the last 10-15 years, I feel the behavior of columns and the combined loadings need to be understood well. And for precast elements, a lot of optimized cross sections can be developed using UHPC. For example, right now we are working on at IIT Hyderabad on precast hollow slabs using UHPC. So then with that we can go for a longer spans. And the fire resistance of UHPC is again a lot of the research work is required. So there are a lot of plenty of opportunities both at the material level as well as at the structural level.
Thank you, sir. And one more, since you are an expert in FRP, FRP, as far as we usually hear, it is used as a strengthening material, strengthening structures. Why is it not so popular to be used as a design material itself? Because that will help us to reduce the thickness and make it more slender structure.
So in the FRP, there are two things. One is the FRP rebar that use it as an internal reinforcement. The second one is the FRP composite that we use it for external strengthening of concrete members, right? So external strengthening in India also, there are several buildings, several bridges have already been strengthened using FRP. In fact, it's very easy to apply, and people now, it has become a very standard technology in strengthening point of view. So, but having said that, again, fire resistance is another issue. So you need to protect them. If at all you want to take advantage, or if you're doing that kind of strengthening in a building or in a bridge, or in an industrial structure where there is a fire is going to be a concern, then you need to insulate them properly. Or we have to make sure that even in the event of fire, these materials, even if they are lost, still it's able to support the service road. So that's one thing. With respect to internal reinforcement, again, it's completely corrosion resistant, but it does not have the ductility, just like steel. So again, depending upon the application, this becomes a very interesting material. For example, slab-on grades, water retaining structures, even gravity load resisting systems in a building can be designed if you are very careful. Or maybe you can combine steel and geopathy rebars so that you don't compromise on ductility also. But a lot of potential is there, and definitely FRP, if properly produced and of required specifications, it can be used in variety of applications. That way we can avoid corrosion, and today also we discussed about using treated water, right? So there are a lot of research happening on using seawater for concreting. So with 𝗘𝗴𝗶𝗶 that becomes a reality. So using such type of new materials for specific applications is really the way to go.
Okay. Thank you for all these details.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure hosting you.
Thank you.